What's going on, guys? My name is Triforce Addiction. Welcome back to another Warzone mobile related video. So today is going to be a pretty important video for, I guess, Warzone mobile, because I know there has been quite a bit of mixed opinions when it comes to the release of this game. A lot of people think that this game is being released too early and it's going to become really unfinished. But at the same time, a lot of people are just excited that it's finally going to make its way into the mobile devices. If anything, I've been hearing a lot more negative opinions of it. Of course, again, there are people that are excited, but at the same time, a lot of people are, I would say, salty. I know this is going to be very arrogant to say, but most of the issues really just stem from people not having their devices supported, or I guess not supported enough for the game to run at a stable frame rate, or at least with decent graphics. I think that's where most of the negativity comes from. A lot of people that with low-end devices were once promised that their device, whatever they own, was going to be able to be playing Warzone, or I guess they were going to be available for the game. But of course, as things changed, that no longer was the case. So I would say you probably might need like some sort of mid-end device, or maybe a high-end device such as maybe an iPad Air or an iPad Pro to actually run the game at its smoothest. But a lot of people, specifically ones with low-end devices, are, let's be honest, I don't want to sound arrogant, but they're extremely salty about what's going on with how the game's functioning so far. And of course, we haven't really seen that day one patch that they were promising, so all that could actually change and maybe the game will run a lot more smoother. I mean, we really don't know what's going on in the background. I could easily say, oh, get off the iPhone 4 or get off the, I don't know, the Galaxy S3 and get a new device. But of course, I mean, not everyone has the disposable income to actually get a newer end device, or they just recently upgraded to something that may not be able to run the game smoothly, and now they have to wait maybe about a year or two before they can upgrade again. And also something to keep in mind is that, let's be honest, the player base for COD Mobile, as well as soon to be Warzone Mobile, the audience is pretty young. I mean, people in their teenage years. I mean, teenagers or just kids in general don't really have that type of disposable income unless they come from like a very, very wealthy family. So it's not like they have an easy way to get like the best iPad or the best phone immediately. I want to play my words carefully here because obviously, I mean, we don't know everyone's situation, and yeah, that's the thing. I mean, it's very easy to just say, well, just get a new phone, but obviously life is more complicated than that. But the way I see it, they tried everything that they could to have any or all low-end devices available to play the game. Like, I will say that. I mean, they tried. I mean, it's like they've probably tested thousands of different phones to have them all work with the game properly, or at least to the best of their ability. But again, even then, it's still not enough, because there's going to be devices that could run with higher frame rates, better graphics than, lower end devices. So for example, the M2 iPad could probably run with the max specs of everything without any issues, while someone with like an Android phone or an older iPhone, or maybe an even older iPad, may not be able to do the same thing. So for all we know, they could be running the game in 30 frames per second, while someone with an M2 iPad or even an M1 could run with maybe 60 or even 90 frames. So people with low-end devices are going to be at a pretty big disadvantage. Well, I guess it just depends on how they play, but with higher frame rates, obviously, you're going to have a better advantage over another player that may have lower. I mean, that's why people prefer to play Call of Duty on PC more than they do on console, because there's a lot more advantages when it comes to frame rates. I mean, whenever I see Jev's videos or anyone that's playing the game on PC, Modern Warfare 3 or something, I mean, their frame rates are crazy. They're like over 240. So yeah, I understand the frustration right there. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. I mean, there's not really much that we could do about this, but keep in mind, we have not seen the last update, or I guess the major update that they're talking about. And from what I understand, as of recording this video, which is right now March 6th, they did say around 12 p.m. maybe Central Time, they will release that specific update for Warzone Mobile. It could be that one, or it could be something way later, but it doesn't mean that it's going to be the final update. They could probably be making smaller ones here and there before the game releases, and even after the game releases. Again, we don't know what happens in those dev studios. I mean, especially when it comes to this game, COD Mobile, whenever there's a test server, they usually give us like a very early version of what they were working on, but when we actually get the major update, it turns out they were working on a lot of different things as well that we were not even aware of during that set test server. So the very same thing could be happening with Warzone Mobile. Maybe they were far further along than we initially thought. It's kind of like that same situation with, movies, right? You don't really know how long they've been, like, actors have been working on a certain movie until it comes out, right? Like, you find out, oh wow, this movie has been in the works for like maybe 4 or 5 years. So yeah, it's kind of the same situation here. I mean, for all we know, they could have been further along than we actually thought. But I do hope that the update for the game is good enough for people to have their minds at least changed, or at least have the game tolerable in their eyes, because of course first impressions always matter. But if you release a broken game that's like barely playable, yeah, obviously that could be a bad thing for your game, because it's going to turn people away. And then, later on down the line, maybe a few months after, a lot of players are going to be like, well, I mean, why am I going to download this broken game, right? Like, first impressions do matter. But I think right now Warzone Mobile is kind of being judged a little bit too harshly. And keep in mind, most of the judgments come from people that don't even have their hands on the game yet. So yeah, I think we should just wait and see what happens. I mean, we have 15 days left before the game comes out. And yeah, of course, I will be going over the updates, obviously, since, I'm like, since the game's coming out, I should probably cover a little bit more about what's actually going on with said game. So yeah, I'm actually very interested to see what's actually going to change. Of course, I'm sure they're going to have a lot of different patch notes, a lot of different weapon changes. But yeah, anyways, that's pretty much it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you leave a like, make sure to subscribe for some more COD Mobile content. I'll see you guys next time.